Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. All right guys, so this video is going to be looking at and updating about the coronavirus. So I'm going to just jump right in here and we're just going to go through these. So let's take a look at the first one. I do want to regularly stay on top of this because it is a very fluid fluid situation that is constantly changing and constantly being updated. So, but it seems we're not getting any good news. It just seems to be getting much worse exponentially. So let's take a look at some of the things that are in the news today regarding this virus. All right. This, very, very tragic and sad. There we go. All right, let me make this a little bit bigger because I know some of you guys are on your tiny phones and it makes it very difficult for you. All right, left at home for 6 days. Now this was from yesterday. Left at home for 6 days, disabled Chinese boy dies after caregiver, dad, and brother are quarantined for coronavirus checks. So they were detained and quarantined, and this disabled boy was at home and died as a result. Via the South China Morning Post, left at home for 6 days, disabled Chinese boy dies after caregiver, dad, and brother are quarantined for coronavirus checks. A disabled teenager in rural central China died after he was left at home for 6 days without care while his relatives were quarantined on suspicion of having the Wuhan coronavirus, Beijing Youth Daily reported on Thursday. The 17-year-old named Yan Cheng had cerebral palsy, a severe motor disability that requires round-the-clock attention. He died in Hubei province on Wednesday. Local government officials were quoted as saying authorities had launched an investigation, the report said. Chen, his 49-year-old father, and his 11-year-old autistic brother traveled from Wuhan on January 17th to celebrate Lunar New Year in their ancestral village in Huahai Township, Honggan County, about 150 kilometers, 93 miles from the central Chinese city where the coronavirus was first reported. The father developed fever. 3 days later, he and Chen's brother were quarantined by authorities at a treatment facility on Friday, leaving Chen at home without regular care, food, or company. This was no official statement on the cause or circumstance. There was no official statement on the cause or circumstance of the teenager's death. Chen's mother committed suicide about a year after the birth of the younger brother. Yan was quoted as saying in a report on Wednesday by someone whose name I can't pronounce, a WeChat publishing platform that campaigns for families of children with autism and other conditions, worried that Chen was not getting proper care from the local Communist Party officials entrusted with the boy's welfare. His father appealed for help on Weibo, China's Twitter-like network, on Tuesday. I have 2 disabled sons. My older son, Yan Chen, has cerebral palsy. He cannot move his body. He cannot speak or look after himself. He has already been at home by himself for 6 days with nobody to bathe him or change his clothes and nothing to eat or drink, Yan wrote in a post that included several photos of him and his son, as well as his own medical treatment information and his Chinese identity card. So I included this because when you think about it, there's a lot of stories behind the stories. We're hearing vague things that are happening, but these stories, the stories behind the stories, are important for us to get a real grip on what's happening and what these people are facing. I would be in utter torment if I knew I had a loved one at home that could not care for themselves and I was being detained. I would be literally out of my skin because I would feel, well, responsible. I would feel worried and I can't even imagine. I wouldn't even if that was like a pet, I would be upset, let alone a son or daughter. So these people are in very, very, very harsh circumstances through no fault of their own. And I don't want to hear any comments in the comment section, and I mean it. I don't want to hear comments like, well, if they didn't eat bats and stuff. It did not come from that wildlife market at all. This is a genetically engineered virus, and they have proved it, and especially today because they found that it has elements of the AIDS virus in it. So this is a manufactured virus. It didn't come from the wet market, although the virus could have been placed there on purpose. But don't get into, yes, okay, they do. They eat strange food, and I admit. And no, I don't like it either. But do they deserve this because of their eating habits? You know, a lot of people in the cities don't eat like that. A lot of people in the country, they ate whatever they could eat because of starvation. So whatever, they ate things that normally, you know, we would think were disgusting, but they did it generation after generation. People think it's normal. So anyway, I just wanted to state that because it really irks me when people start blaming the Chinese people for, you know, what has befallen them. And it's not just the Chinese. Sorry, I just uploaded this, so I wanted to make sure that it got on its way. And let's go back here. Yeah, I mean, we're all going to face this. We're all going to face this. It's almost, when you look at a map of all the countries it's in over half the world at this point. So, not good. All right, let's take a look at this now. This by Wired. And it says the coronavirus is now infecting more people outside China. Public health experts worry the outbreak is entering a dangerous new phase as cases of local transmission in other countries accumulate. Yes, I just heard of another case in Ontario. There's been 2 cases in Toronto. There's now a case in London, Ontario, which is kind of south, well, it's north of, it's west and north of Toronto. Northwest. Yes. All right. Is that right? No, it's southwest. I'm sorry. I'm trying to picture it in my mind, and I am not doing a good job. All right. So for as long as the outbreak of the novel coronavirus in China has been raging, public health officials have kept their eyes on one key variable: whether the virus was continuing to spread even far away from the epicenter in Wuhan. Last week, when the World Health Organization decided against declaring the outbreak an international public health emergency, the absence of sustained human-to-human transmission outside of mainland China was a factor. At that point, only Vietnam had a coronavirus patient who hadn't personally been to Wuhan. It was just one case. Now, there are at least 4 more. On Tuesday, officials in Japan, Taiwan, and Germany all reported their first cases of domestic human-to-human transmission. On Thursday morning, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention confirmed the first such incident on American soil. In each of the new cases, patient contracted the deadly disease outside China from someone else who had recently been there. And they include patients who got sick from family members, but from people they came in contact with while working, and at least in one case, people who weren't showing any symptoms. Now, here's the thing, and why I'm saying this is engineered. This virus has been designed for maximum deadly impact, really, because number one, it can incubate in you for 2 weeks. You don't have any symptoms, but all the while you're shedding that virus. Every time you breathe, every time you sneeze, whatever, you are shedding that virus. You're touching people, you're whatever. That virus is being shed. So you could literally infect hundreds of people and not even know you have the virus. Not only that, there are people who shed this virus and are super spreaders, is what they call them. They're super spreaders, but they themselves have never will never get it. They won't get it, but they'll shed it. So, you know, someone can not be sick, not have a fever, not have any, but you're still spreading it everywhere, and everywhere you go, you'll still spread it, even though no one will ever know because you don't test positive for the virus. Now, how do you like that? And get this. Once if you get the virus and you recover, which now they're saying it's 50-50 50% are, survival rate. So if you get it, you got a 50-50 chance. Now, maybe if you have access to better medical care, then perhaps the odds are greater. But right now, it's 50-50. So these people that are telling you, oh, you got more chance of catching the flu. No, you don't. Because the flu does not spread anywhere near as fast as this. It's got an R naught value now of 4. The flu is what, 1 or 2? So yeah, this spreads much quicker than the flu, and it's deadly. Deadly. Yes, people die of the flu, but this is a heck of a lot worse than the flu, no matter what anybody is telling you. And now get this, you catch the virus. You happen to be one of the lucky ones and you survive it. Did you know that you can catch it again? That's right. So you can get over it, then go out and come across an infected person and get it again. So this is catastrophic. I don't know, all these people that say, oh, you're such an alarmist. It's a big nothing burger. Okay, well, you tell me that in another month's time. You tell me it's a nothing burger. And it really irritates me. You know why it irritates me? Not because, people can laugh at me all day long, poke fun at me, whatever. I'll be just like, pfft. But when it comes to doing that at the expense of other people's lives, no. Don't fall for disinformation. Get your information right from the sources and, take this seriously. And don't just say, well, it's not bad here yet. No, but you know what? You know how fast this happened? You know how fast it can spread throughout North America? Easily. And the rest of the world, by the way. So, yeah, and there's people saying, oh, it only affects Chinese people. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. The virus doesn't say, oh, you're Chinese. I'm going to go over there and, get that person sick. I'll leave this white person alone. Like, that's ludicrous, really. But anyway, let's go on because we can. All right, and the World Health Organization has now declared the China coronavirus is a global health emergency. Well, no duh. They should have, done this a long time before now, if you ask me. But you didn't. So there you go. And let's look at this. How a pandemic starts or gets started. Okay, look at all these flights. Now, I think this was from yesterday, but look at all the flights in China, North Korea, zillions of them. All those people are going somewhere. Oh, I thought all the flights were stopped. Nope. Apparently not. Now, these could be domestic flights, but you've got flights from China going into Mongolia, which Mongolia, I had heard, had shut its borders. And you've got flights, look at, that's a ton of flights. And they all have people on them. And some of those people, no doubt, are infected. And they're going somewhere else to infect more people. This is alarming to me, but yeah, that is that's the stuff that pandemics are made of right there. Zillions of planes carrying people, possibly some carrying the coronavirus, and some of these flights are still going all over the world. So, some places have stopped the flights or they're quarantining people, keeping people quarantined, but yeah, does that look like travel stopped? Doesn't look like that to me, anyway. All right, so let that get indelibly printed in your brain as you think about how safe we're not. All right, and let's take a look at this. And here we have crazy Pocahontas blaming Trump for the coronavirus because she says it's due to climate change. No, Elizabeth Warren, no, it's not. It was engineered. This was engineered, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to find that out. Now, she's a piece of work. Democrat Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts threw shade Tuesday at President Donald Trump over the spread of diseases such as the coronavirus coming out of China. To effectively beat infectious diseases like coronavirus, we need all hands on deck, Warren tweeted. But like so much else, Trump's approach to keeping us safe from disease outbreaks is a mess. When he's gone, we must fix the damage he's done, and I've got a plan for that. I bet she does. Do you see how we're being set up here? Really? Because this is bad. And they'll probably blame it on something like climate change, and they'll want to, even more enforcements, even more whatever. And I got thinking about this, and think about it. Let's say that it spreads throughout the United States, and every single state has the coronavirus, and it's spreading and whatever. Now, what is the last thing you'd want to touch? I would say money, because money changes hands so many times. You don't know where that dollar bill came from at all. Now, the last thing you want to do in an epidemic is be handling money with your bare hands. And think of the cashiers that have to handle money all day long. And money that here, and especially, in the States, in the South, you've got this all the time. People will go up to the cash and they'll pull money out of their bra, this sweaty, gross money. And I'm just saying, that is a great place for viruses to hang out on money. And wouldn't that be a great reason to have to go to a digital currency to keep people safe from the virus, from being infected? Doesn't that make sense? Makes perfect sense to me. We know that there will be, just like there is in China. Now, there's not going to be, is China still going to be shipping things into the Walmart and so forth? I don't know. But is it safe for us to order things from China and get those packages? I don't know. These are answers that we just don't have, but I can tell you, this is going to affect the whole world economically and in every other way. And if you are discounting this and saying, oh, it's nothing, then that is what's called normalcy bias, because you think, well, I've been alive this long and never seen a pandemic. That's a stupid thing to say, really, because normalcy bias says, well, it's always been this way. It's always going to be this way. Yep. Like anything, or well, my house won't burn down. The neighbor's house might burn down. Mine won't. That's normalcy bias. And that's what a lot of people have with this. They really do, because they are thinking, well, this is, yeah, I'm sure it'll be bad for a little bit, but we'll get through this and everything will be fine, unless it isn't. And, pandemics have happened a lot in the past. Now, they don't happen all the time. They don't happen, 3, 4, 5 times in a century, but they happen. And we're in one. And this is bad. I have never seen the likes of this virus. And the more I read about it, the more I'm alarmed, because it's evident that somebody planned this. Either somebody planned it, or they were handling it in the lab in Wuhan and it got out somehow. I don't know which. All right, so let's go back here and let's look at this. Now, this is Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding. Now, he is an authority, and he says, whoa, the author said the finding was unexpectedly related to genes from the HIV virus. How did the genes from the HIV virus get in this coronavirus? Oh, and by the way, I found out today the coronavirus can affect your pets. So when this hits full force, keep your pets inside if you want to keep your pets. All right. So the author said the finding was unexpectedly related to genes from HIV virus. Notably, there were 4 gene insertions, see figure in above post, number 16, and so which HIV gene proteins were found in the new coronavirus? GAG protein and GP120 key HIV proteins. So this is the findings. The insertions were observed to be present in all the genomic sequences of 2019 nCoV virus available from the recent clinical isolates, supplementary figure 1. To know the source of these insertions in 2019 nCoV, a local alignment was done with BLAST-P using the insertions as query with all virus genome. Unexpectedly, all the insertions got aligned with human immunodeficiency virus, HIV-1. Further analysis revealed that aligned sequences of HIV-1 with 2019 nCoV were derived from surface glycoprotein GP120 amino acid sequence positions. Whatever, that doesn't mean anything to me. Maybe it means something to you medical people, but GAG protein of HIV is involved in host membrane binding, packaging of the virus, and for the formation of virus-like particles. GP120 plays a crucial role in recognizing the host cell by binding to the primary receptor CD4. This binding induces structural rearrangements in GP120, creating a high affinity binding site for a chemokine co-receptor like CXCR4 or CCR5. So, how did HIV get into the coronavirus? Now, this person is really, he is a public health scientist, epidemiologist, health economist, Harvard 07 plus Johns Hopkins 04, taught Harvard 15 years, New York Times, Feet.Pharma, whistleblower. So this guy is very, very knowledgeable. And yeah, very, very knowledgeable. I was just seeing if we could find anything. He's got a lot of stuff here. He's a really good person to follow if you are wanting to keep up with this. Now, I am going to keep reporting on this probably every day, doing a short video on it at least, along with regular, because this is critical. It's very important to us all globally. So anyway, so again, this guy's name is Dr. Eric Feigl Ding, and he is on Twitter. All right. Now, look at this. All these people saying, oh, it's a nothing burger. Hong Kong has schools in Hong Kong have been suspended until March 2nd due to Wuhan coronavirus. Yeah, how often do schools, just close down for that length of time? Bet they won't open then either. They're probably just waiting to see if it's gonna, what's gonna happen with it. So, in a press conference early Friday evening, Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam urged residents to stay vigilant and announce further measures by the probably Hong Kong government. But anyway, yeah, there's more and more countries getting, well, Hong Kong is part of China now, but just very interesting. All right, now, this is what I was saying about the pets. So if you are in an area where this is breaking out, keep your pets home. Pets can carry Wuhan coronavirus too, say experts. A Chinese epidemiologist warned this week that the novel Wuhan coronavirus is not limited to communication between humans. Dr. Li Lanjuan of the Chinese National Health Commission made clear that mammals are generally at risk of passing the virus. If pets go out and have contact with an infected person, they have the chance to get infected. By then, pets need to be isolated. In addition to people, we should be careful with other mammals, especially pets, she told China Central Television. television, CCTV, Wednesday. Chinese news outlets and the World Health Organization report that pet-to-person transmission remains theoretical as of now. The WHO declared an international emergency on Thursday. The United States is currently dealing with confirmed cases of coronavirus in Illinois, Arizona, California, Washington State as of Friday, January 31st, according to the CDC. On Friday morning, the New York Daily News reported that New York Police Department officers were warned to avoid Elmhurst Hospital in Queens due to a potential case. The first domestic person-to-person transmission was announced Thursday in Illinois. Due to statements from CDC and WHO, elements of the U.S. travel industry are taking new precautions. Delta and American Airlines announced halts to travel to China on Friday after a leading pilots union filed a lawsuit in Dallas County, Texas. The U.S. State Department issued a do not travel advisory for all of China on Thursday. The level 4 advisory is the most severe and on par with nations like Syria, Afghanistan, and cartel war-torn regions of Mexico. Those currently in China should consider departing using commercial means. The Department of State has requested that all non-essential U.S. government personnel defer travel to China in light of the novel coronavirus, the federal advisory states. Senator Tom Cotton asked top officials to implement a targeted travel ban. Given the latest development and many unknowns about this virus, we ought to follow Benjamin Franklin's maxim, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. America is blessed with world-leading researchers and laboratories on the cutting edge of medical science and epidemiology. Working in tandem with them, I'm confident our federal research agencies can develop a vaccine in record time, the senator wrote in a letter to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, HSS Secretary Alex Azar, and Acting Homeland Security Director Chad Wolf. So, the virus, the fact that they're working so hard on developing a virus, it should make me happy. And I don't know, maybe it will stop the virus, but a lot of times the vaccine is worse than the actual virus. So what they're doing to us, none of us know. And it's a little bit disconcerting. Do I trust the government? Heck no. And I don't trust anything we're hearing from the mainstream media anymore. We can't trust it. And we can't know that the government has our best interest in mind because we're still seeing the same stuff happening, the same things not being prosecuted that should be prosecuted. So I don't know, but I would like to know how you guys feel about all this and what you think. It's fine if you think this is all nothing, that's fine, but be careful, of giving that advice to other people to, just forget about it or whatever, because really we do have to be prepared with whatever. I saw one Chinese guy, he had, very ingenious if you ask me, he had taken a bra, like the cup of a bra, and hooked the straps around his ears, and he was using that as a mask. And you know what? Hey, if it works, it's better than going out breathing the air with nothing on. So there you go. If push comes to shove and there's no masks available, use your bra if you're a woman, or use your wife's bra or your girlfriend's bra if you're a man. So there you go. And then there won't be any bras around either. And, everybody will go out and buy bras for masks. All right. Now let's go back here. That may be the end, but it's not. Yes. This from Natural News. Coronavirus quarantines begin in America as CDC holds 195 American evacuees for 2 weeks. Well, thank goodness the government is holding them for 2 weeks and not just letting them go willy-nilly off into the wild blue yonder to infect other people, if, in fact, any of them are infected. So that is good news to me. with coronavirus now confirmed in New York City and worldwide, infections nearly at 10,000. That's a very, very, very understated. The CDC has quarantined 195 Americans who lived in Wuhan, China, and were evacuated on a private chartered flight. According to a press release issued by the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, under statutory authority of the Health and Human Services Secretary, has issued federal quarantine orders to all 195 United States citizens who repatriated to the U.S. on January 29, 2020. The quarantine will last 14 days from when the plane left Wuhan, China. So anyway, I'm not going to read all of this, but it's interesting nonetheless. So, yeah, and let's go back to here. There was one that I had wanted to show you, and it showed that people were being basically boarded into their homes. Like if you are in China and you are, quarantined, they literally lock you in your home. They put, steel stuff across your door. You can't get out. So that's a little bit disconcerting, because how do these people get food and all this? How can they, how can they survive? If they're quarantined, if they're in there by themselves, they have nobody there, they can't leave, they can't, go to get food or anything. So I'm just not sure how that's all working, but it's a little disconcerting. It's more than disconcerting. All right. And Lancet study warns self-sustaining outbreaks in major cities around the world inevitable because of symptomless coronavirus carriers. So a new urgent study just published in the Lancet warns that independent self-sustaining outbreaks in major cities globally may be inevitable due to the substantial exportation of symptomless carriers of coronavirus. That same study also calculates that 75,815 individuals are infected right now in mainland China, where the official government numbers are currently under 10,000. Titled Nowcasting and Forecasting the Potential Domestic and International Spread of the 2019 nCoV Outbreak Originating in Wuhan, China, a modeling study. The study is authored by Professor Gabriel M. Lung, MD, and Kathy Lung, PhD. The study also warns that preparedness plans should be readied for quick deployment globally. Stated bluntly, this study published in the Lancet on January 31st sounds almost exactly like Natural News articles from a week earlier. Natural News has also covered the implications of symptomless coronavirus carriers and why such people can bypass all existing airport screening measures. Coronavirus cases have been exported to other Chinese cities as well as internationally, threatening to trigger a global outbreak, the study further warns. The study used flight data to estimate the spread of coronavirus to over 300 cities across mainland China. It used 2.68 as the reproductive rate for the virus, which is actually much higher. Which means every one person infects 2.68 more people. Based on these numbers, the study warns that epidemics are already growing exponentially in multiple major cities of China, with a lag time that runs about 1 to 2 weeks behind the Wuhan outbreak. So, yeah, these are the areas that it's spreading to within China. And look at this: international air outbound travel, domestic air outbound travel, and domestic train outbound travel. So there's still travel happening. Large cities with close transport links to China could also become outbreak epicenters. The study also warned that cities which are receiving flights from China could become outbreak epicenters, direct air flights from China continue to deliver passengers to dozens of large cities around the world each day, including Los Angeles, Boston, New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow, Vancouver, Toronto, and many more. So far, the United States has not banned incoming air flights from China, even after the WHO has declared a global pandemic emergency, but, well, that's changed now. The Communist Chinese government made a decision on January 25th to sacrifice millions of lives in order to save 11 key cities that represents China's military and industrial hubs. China's political leaders have already accepted the reality that the nation will experience millions of fatalities from coronavirus infections and secondary effects such as starvation, infections, and disease, many stemming from draconian quarantine measures that have now imprisoned 56 million Chinese citizens. If the virus begins to show an outbreak pattern in other countries with less military control over the populations, such as Thailand, the Philippines, or various African nations, yes, it's in Africa now, it is almost certain to break containment there and become a global pandemic. The total number of confirmed coronavirus infections outside China now exceeds 100, and numbers are growing quickly in Thailand, Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, and South Korea. So there we have, numbers are growing. So yeah, this is just nothing to take lightly, really. So, you know, I don't know how best to prepare. I'm wondering that myself. I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be getting in some extra water and food. And it doesn't have to cost a lot either. I go for high protein items like peanut butter, tuna, and beans. Beans and rice, you can live on that for a very long time because both beans and rice make a complete protein. So I'm doing that, getting together a first aid kit, and making sure that all my any medications are up to date, and you know, I have a supply there. Vitamins, all that stuff. So, and I'm trying to get a hold of some masks, but not having any luck at that. So maybe I'll have to wear a bra. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, I do wear a bra, but you know what I mean. Wear it on my face. So anyway, all right. Well, that is that. And I am going to leave it there for tonight and get this uploaded. So I will be back tomorrow. Well, at least that's my plan. So anyway, tomorrow I will catch us up with the news, and I'll probably do another report on the coronavirus, and maybe I'll even have the Belanoff stuff done by then. Who knows? But I'll be back. So you guys have a wonderful night. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay well, and especially stay well, and keep seeking truth. All right. Good night, guys.